If Wells is the godfather of British science fiction, then a writer called Olaf Stapledon is its prodigal son. Soon the earth below me was like a huge circular tabletop, a broad disk of darkness surrounded by stars. I experienced only an increasing exhilaration and a delightful effervescence of thought. The extraordinary brilliance of the stars excited me. The heavens blazed. The major stars were like the headlights of a distant car. The Milky Way, no longer watered down with darkness, was an encircling, granular river of light. Stapledon was the great British science fiction writer of the interwar period. Little known now, he inspired many of the writers to follow. When you read his works, you could feel your brain expanding.
Olaf Stapledon. So I wish I could have known him better. But, he did have one of the most far-reaching minds I ever encountered.
Stapledon was so far in advance of his time, because it was long before, for example, we went to the moon or anything like that. All these enormous discoveries we've made hadn't even been thought of. And he was talking about star time and cosmos time. I can't imagine anybody reading that and not being completely blown away. And I was blown away then.
Stapledon was the son of a Liverpool shipping magnate and had experienced the war at first hand as an ambulance driver. He told his future wife, "I am sick of dealing with shattered human beings. Each single little tragedy is such a mere atom of the whole." After the war, he became a teacher at a working man's college. By night, he taught philosophy. By day, he drew up plans for the future history of mankind.
Olaf Stapledon was possibly the biggest thinker there's been in science fiction, I'd say, on the theme of human evolution and cosmic evolution as a whole. Quite extraordinary literary ambition.
His daughter Mary remembers growing up in a house where the roof had been cut away to make room for a giant telescope.
Appearance of second submen, a war between two human species, third and fourth men, fifth men.
In his first novel, Last and First Men, Stapledon worked out a detailed projection of man's future incarnations over the millennia.
And then, in the year 12 million, the first biological experiments. Abolition of senility. Oh, I could do that. I could do that.
In The Last and First Men, Stapledon describes the rise and fall of 8 human species, one after the other, beginning with us, the first men, in which were transformed over and over again. So it's rather like the rise and fall of mankind, which Wells portrayed.
2,000 million years on. Extinction of life in solar system. Oh dear. I find that terribly moving. You know, I remember reading it for the first time and thinking, you know, that is really, really something. And something we've got to face up to.
Well, it's many years since I read Stapledon's Last and First Men, but it did have a terrific impact on me. You know, opened up these vistas of deep time. So that was very, very important influence. I have a feeling that I went straight back to the beginning and read it again.
But in his book Star Maker, Stapledon went even further and took his readers beyond the infinite.
It's a really extraordinary thought adventure, a mental voyage into the utmost reaches of the cosmos.
This man goes to the top of a hill and projects himself into the cosmos in search of the great overall ruling force, the Star Maker itself.
And then the vision takes him first to another world, a kind of alternative vision of the Earth.
Religion was a much greater power than on my own planet. But there had seldom been any agreement as to the taste of God. whether he was in the main sweet or salt. Some teachers insisted that only the feet could taste him, others only the hands or the mouth.
But then, I mean, when you're rolling about in your chair, he goes on to describe what the next universe is going to be like.
And then gradually expands in scale in a whole series of stages until you get to this vision which attempts to encompass not just the entire universe, but the universe as one element in a whole sequence of created universes.
There were men that had developed from a slug-like ancestor, along a line which was not vertebrate, still less mammalian. In other worlds, man had developed from 5-pronged animals, rather like starfish. Their faces, of course, were apt to be far from human.
Stapledon, I think, in Star Maker is very interested in looking at alternative patterns of evolution. What other things might evolutionary sequences have produced? You can't really test the limits of evolutionary theory until you have more than one case to look at. And I think that's what Stapledon is trying to do in Star Maker. He's trying to place our evolutionary context in a much broader one.
Stapledon had taken Wells's quest to discover the evolutionary future of mankind far out into the universe. At the end of his journey was a mystical encounter with the Star Maker himself. The illumination which flooded in on me, struck me down to blind worship, was a glimmer of the Eternal Spirit's own all-penetrating experience. I felt something of the Spirit's temper, as it apprehended in one intuitive and timeless vision all our lives.
He's using this supposedly very secular scientific theory to explore themes which are really basically religious. One of the common effects which is talked about in science fiction, which is the sense of wonder, the wow moment, which itself is a moment of vision. And this is, a moment of kind of religious ecstasy where you see the enormity of the universe, or you see the truth within a single cell, or whatever it might be. And this is what makes science fiction, I think, an heir to the same kind of tradition as people like William Blake and Julian of Norwich, and frankly, religious ecstatics.
And the towering Star Maker. Why do I like it so much? Because it is so far beyond the flights of imagination of ordinary man. But why do I hate it? Because I know I'll never achieve anything like it.